Oh, hello, friends. I didn't notice you there once again. Welcome to Respawn Aim Fire, Game of the Year 2022. And you might notice there's some extra friends with us besides Al Pacino and the flute guy. But I'll talk about what we're doing first. So this is our Respawn Aim Fire Game of the Year 2022. We're making a bracket, right? You know, like March Madness, but it's December. That's what we're doing here. And basically, we've gathered some friends together, and we're going to decide what deserves to be the best 8 games of the year, indie and overall game of the year. And we're going to deliberate. And we're going to decide on our bracket. So 8 indies, 8 overall game of the years. And then in a couple of days, next week, whenever you're hearing the podcast, we'll have us 3 main hosts decides the winner. But right now we're making like the ship that's going to the new land, right? Does that make sense? Is that an analogy?
Wait, we're making the ship?
Yes, so that we can
colonizing?
sail. Well, no, we're not colonizing. We're just exploring. No colonizers over here.
I'm gonna plus one your metaphor. We are deciding who gets to go on the boat to the new land today, and then you, me, and Alex are later going to decide who gets tossed off the boat.
Yes,
and who gets to take the Neil Armstrong first step into the new land.
I feel like we should consult with our special guest first. Al Pacino, how do you feel about building a boat and exploring?
Visual gag does not work on the podcast, but it's very good.
It totally works though because he looked in the right direction to Al Pacino. So.
Oh, absolutely did.
So,
but go ahead, Alex.
Sorry, I looked this up real quick. Apparently, Christopher Columbus sailed the seas on 3 ships when he discovered the New World. There was the Santa Maria, there was the Pinta, and there was the Nina. However, we only have 2 categories. So, which 2 ships are staying, and which ship is being sunk?
You know the Santa Maria has to go because I say Santa Maria Jesus. So that one for sure.
There you go.
But anyways, I'm going to intro our host since we're all here. We're all hanging out. First up, you know him, you love him. It's Chad.
I dabbed.
Got to speak for the
audio
kids so they
listeners,
know your voice.
Because I'm cool.
Yeah. Absolutely. We also have, by the way, give your plugs if you have plugs to give. We also have Chris.
Hey, I am the host and creator of Screen Quest, a tabletop-based movie podcast where we draw a random film each week and discuss it. Good to be here.
It's very cool. We watch those, listen to those Halloween episodes. There's a really cool guest in one of those. We also have Dusty.
Hi, I'm Dusty. I am mostly tabletop podcast, so go to Goblets and Gays, where there's goblets and gays. Also, bring your own mech, where you have to bring your own mech. And Unwavering Force. It's not out yet, but if you like Star Wars, fight us. That's it.
I love
Dusty
descriptive
had record
titles.
sales numbers when he worked at GameStop. Just, was able to pitch things so well.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
What is Horizon Zero Dawn about,
Dusty?
There's a skyline and it's night. There's no dawn. That's the game.
Also, we have Alex.
Hey, you know me. You can find me over on twitch.tv/CozyBearLive, where recently I've been playing through a bunch of potential Game of the Year candidates, some
POTY
of which
GOTYs.
we might be discussing on this podcast. But I also do a lot of Pokemon Nuzlocke challenges there as well.
And then last but not least, between Al Pacino and Flute Guy, we got Trevor.
Where I am at home, where I am at my best. For audio listeners, I did not dab. Hi, I'm Trevor Bettis. I'm the community manager for Isle Champions of the Forgotten Realms, and I'm also the host of way too many podcasts.
Very nice. And I'm Adam. You know me. I'm here hosting, but I'm going to hand this off because I don't feel like speaking anymore. So we're going to start. We're going to go round robin, rockin' robin. We're going to start with indies first. So we're going to. So here's what we'll do. Someone will nominate a game.
Of the 2 ships, these are the Nina games.
Yes, Alex.
The girl
the Nina
games?
games, indeed.
Thank you for not letting the metaphor die.
I love it. So we're going to start with indie, right? Which is, everyone knows what indie is. A game outside of the normal publishing realm. So not EA, not Ubisoft, not Microsoft, etc.
Does Valiant Hearts count? Because I think that got re-released or
no,
remastered
because
this
it's
year.
an Ubisoft game. It would not count. No, it does not.
Yes. Yes.
So what we're going to do is we're going to go around the table, around the horn, and everyone's going to nominate a game, right? And you make your pitch for it, and then we decide this is an absolute has to go on the list, or we'll still that and then maybe pie and we'll come back to it later.
I have
Make
a
sense?
question.
Go for
What
it.
if someone says your game?
Then you have the rest of your list. Or you just agree with them. You're like,
Okay,
I concur.
okay,
The
okay.
game is awesome. Put it on the list, please. So
For those of you following along visually, I will be entering these on this wonderful state of the art visual canvas as we kind of go and make a list, and our listeners and our guests can see them as well because
I really love that Adam gave me shit at the beginning of this for doing a visual gag, and then the entire episode is visually based.
you know,
As you should.
it's both. It's audio and visual. So we're gonna start. Chad, I'm going to start. Or you start. Excuse me. What you have an indie for nomination for indie game?
Okay, so here's we're gonna start off with a controversy. Maybe not. So Inscription became available to the rest of the world this year. God damn it, Adam. God damn it.
I love Inscription. That's why it was my game of the year last year, Chad.
But like, listen, most people didn't get to play it last year because it was stuck
Yes, they
on
did.
some dead system that nobody
Yeah, you're
owns.
right.
And
Nobody
now
has
it's
PCs.
Now it's like available to. Okay. I'm gonna throw out Tunic. Tunic is a game that came out on Xbox and then a bunch of other things recently. Little nod to the Zelda 2D games of yore. Fantastic game. I still haven't finished it, but I absolutely loved everything that I've played of it so far. So I think it deserves to be on that indie game of the year list.
Does anyone have second thoughts? Because I'm going to go ahead and vote yes for this if it was me.
I'm also
Oh,
voting
yeah.
yes for Tunic. I
Tunic-
have finished it. It is great. Sorry.
Tunic is quite possibly still my game of the year, and so I say hell yes, let's do it.
I'm
Dustin
not against
Trevor?
it being on.
Okay.
That's what I will say.
I have no opinions here or there. I know the name. I know people are excited about it.
Okay. I think that's enough yeses. We can go ahead and etch that in.
Done.
On our
Etched.
indie list.
I've decided we're going to go lowercase.
Okay. Very cool. Next up, Chris, go ahead and give us a nomination.
So I am going to nominate Neon White, which is a fabulous first-person shooter that is also a fast-paced platformer where you're kind of doing, I guess for lack of a better word, speedrunning. I think it's just a fantastic game that has a great learning curve. Mechanics come at a nice pace, and I 100%ed it. Like I couldn't get enough of it. So I think it's just a wonderful game.
But again, that's one of those games that like only 120 million people have access to.
It's on the Switch.
I know that's yeah. See, I have not played Neon White.
I was going to
so I
say,
can't
like, I love Neon White. It's Mirror's Edge, but edgy.
Yes.
Ooh, mirror
So,
edgy.
It's fantastic. There's even a visual novel part of it.
Yeah, and it's pretty fun. I got this game about a weekend some change ago because I had a trip to Toronto and I needed something to play on my Switch, and I've been really enjoying this game. I will say, I tend to be kind of a completionist with this game's levels. I won't stop until I've gotten a platinum time on all of them and collected the item. And that wasn't so bad at the beginning, but especially late into the game, those items are really well hidden and it gets quite difficult to get those platinum times. So I've actually slowed quite a bit in my progression in this game, but the game is still great. It's still great.
I have not played this game. It is on my list of games I want to play. In fact, I'm literally looking at the Steam page right now going, $20? Do I got $20? I could throw this. But I want it to be on this list because of the conversation I've heard about it throughout the year. I've heard nothing but good things. I mean, kind of funny. A bunch of people there are just, they rave about it constantly. So I actually might pick this game up and play it tonight.
Yay! All right. That's what I like to hear.
I was literally just playing it before this because I haven't beat it yet because the last levels are long.
So is that
Damn
a bunch
it!
of
Now I
thumbs
want
up,
to play it.
assume? I've got it. I've already bought it, so it's all good.
Play it. Do it. Coward.
I think it's a bunch of All right, go ahead and etch it in. I think that one goes on for sure.
It's been etched.
Very cool. Dusty, do you have an indie game to bring us?
Yeah, I have a couple. One of them was going to be Neon White. The other one I'm going to throw at you is Immortality, which is a Half Mermaid game.
I'm sorry, what?
It's the studio's Half Mermaid.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah.
I also was follling you, Chad, and thought it was a game about a half mermaid.
No,
I played 2 hours of this
year
game.
got turned into a game.
I don't remember any mermaids in this game.
It's it's really hard to describe, but it's basically like you're etching through video footage, and the video footage is weird about a actress who was in three movies that were never finished, never released. You're going through it, and you're literally going through footage. So it's like full, like I guess FMV almost. And you're going through two movies set in the late '60s, early '70s, and one in 1999. And then you should just play it. Like if I literally say anything that's going on, because once you start learning the mechanics, they let you go, and after you learn the mechanics, like you start going through stuff and scrubbing through footage, and then something weird happens, and then you found the actual part of the game. It's truly fantastic. The acting is amazing. The editing, the actual game function is so good. Uh, Warning: lots of nudity, lots of blood, lots of violence.
Oh yeah, there's some butts, some boobs.
Clickable boobs,
Yeah, I've heard
by the
nothing
way.
but good things about this game. I feel like it was talked about a lot when it came out, and it showed up at the Game Awards. Didn't take anything home, I don't believe.
Unfortunately,
But
yeah.
No.
it's on my list of things to play.
It's
I
on
would
Game Pass.
Totally okay. Yeah, I'd be totally okay with.
I
This
played
is
this game relatively.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, this is I think a game that I think I'll be overruled on. But if we get to like 9 games plus and we have to drop one, this is one that I would drop. Just I did play it this week and I was just like I felt I played it for like 2 hours and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what the objective was. I was just watching a bunch of clips and I was like bored and then I got achievements for things like you figured out what happened to blank, and I was like, I don't even know who blank is, or I missed what happened to that person. I didn't even know what I
Oh,
achieved.
there's something that like you need to like go through it because there's stuff that like you would know what I'm talking about if you've been playing it. Like if you've actually seen like the different stuff.
Yeah,
It's funny, I also played Telling Lies earlier this year, and I felt very similarly during my experience with Telling Lies, where there definitely was a like 2 hour-ish period at the beginning of me playing through that game where I didn't really get it. And eventually, much like with Immortality, things kind of snapped into place. I like this game. I said this on the podcast earlier that it's not like one of my favorite games of the year, but I do have to give credit to the team behind this game for, making another FMV game that still feels pretty distinct and different from the other two FMV games they've done before in terms of the way that you interact with them, in terms of their subject matter, so on and so forth. So yeah.
Trevor, have you played it?
No, I have not. I've heard extremely good things about it. I know that this is in a lot of conversations for mini game of the years. I think it deserves to be on the list.
It's a thumbs up from me. So I think that Chad is the only one who's against it. So put an asterisk next to it just in case we get to like that weird number. But I think it definitely deserves to be on this list as well.
Something tells me Chad won't forget that he wants to veto this if it comes to that.
By the way, it's got my immortality. I think it's good. Alex, go ahead and give us another one.
You guys have already done a lot of the games that I wanted to bring up. However, a game that has not yet been brought up is Citizen Sleeper. This is a game I've discussed many times on the podcast before. It is primarily a visual novel with some sort of light tabletop-ish role-playing game elements in which you play as a sleeper, effectively one of those body double people from the world of Blade Runner that basically gets cast out onto a remote space station in the middle of nowhere, and you have to make a name for yourself and ultimately elude an individual that is coming to reclaim you for the corporation you escape from. This game just features some absolutely fantastic writing, and even though it is not like the deepest role-playing game you'll ever play, I was surprised by the level of kind of customization and the kind of number of different kind of bisecting routes I could take over the course of its narrative. This game is really, really special, and it's unfortunate it didn't really, get much recognition at the Game Awards. It was only nominated for the Games for Impact category, which, you still got to respect a nomination, but didn't win it. And I feel like if there is an opportunity for us to, prop up this game a little bit more here on Respawn Aim Fire, I'll take it.
I am going to second Alex's opinion because I enjoyed this game a lot. Kind of came out of nowhere, didn't know what it was. I'm like, I don't know, this is the thing on Game Pass. I'll check out. I normally don't like visual novels, but I enjoyed this one. And then the actual like rolling a dice to do your objectives in the world gave that enough gameplay. I'm like, okay, this is cool. So
I
will
Dusty and I
second
both just went dice.
Oh yeah,
Dice.
it's visual novel with you roll d6s.
That might get me to buy this game.
I haven't got a chance to play this, even though I feel like it's like extremely my shit. Just haven't like gone through it. I've heard nothing but good things, like of like a fantastic story. Some people that I know have played it have said like akin to Disco Elysium, which is something I haven't played either. But again, another game that gets nothing but rave reviews. The people that love it love it. So I'm totally okay with putting it up there because I've heard great things, just haven't played it.
Chad and Chris, what do you guys think?
I will +1 this one just because I did get Sleeper Simulant this year, and I felt like it was really good for the brief time that I used. I even got the Catalyst, but I haven't finished it. But I just feel like it got overshadowed by the Taipan, which came out the same season. Everyone got that powder
Making some
and it's now like
Destiny
the OG
2 jokes here. I
I play Destiny 2 and I don't know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
there's the linear
I've had the
fusion.
audio
We're talking
listeners
about linear
are gonna
fusion
miss me
rifles, right?
laughing.
Sleeper Simulant.
I don't like fusion rifles.
I don't think we're
That
talking about
nearly
the same
killed
thing,
me.
man.
That nearly fucking killed me.
Okay, Chris or
Yeah, I
Chad,
have no
you
idea
have
what
a real
Citizen
opinion.
Sleeper is, but if y'all like it, I like it.
Yeah, I'm abstaining. I don't know enough like about it one way or the other. I don't
Yeah.
object or support it.
I want to put this in the maybe, but put it at the top of the maybe because I think it should. But we'll just see if other people. Because I'm with Cozy. I think it's great.
I'm a
So put it at the
Neutronian.
top of maybe. Yeah, it's a lot of neutrals and me and Cozy liking it. So let's put it at the top there.
All right, I'm going to put it over to the right here in this third column, 11 or 9 through 12.
Gotcha.
What is a Citizen Sleeper, right?
Citizen Sleeper. Yeah, not what
Sleeper
linear
simulant.
fusion nonsense you said.
Sleeper stimulants. Come on now.
Linear equations? What?
I don't have any of these guns. Trevor, give us what do you call it?
So like
Nomination.
when you messaged me about being on the show, I had one in mind, and that has now changed. My nomination for this is Vampire Survivors.
Yeah, like,
Game is absolutely phenomenal. I love everything about it. I've been calling it an active idle game. It's I since they released it on the phone, you see my little cat's face there. This is released on mobile, night of the Game Awards. I've not been able to put it down. Like I just anytime I have like 5 minutes, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do a Survivors run, and it is just so much fun to get more and more levels, make those numbers bigger and bigger, just get more and more stuff on screen to destroy and kill, and get gold to unlock more stuff to make things easier. It's got this great feedback loop that it's got its hooks in me. I can't stop playing it. I love it.
I'm going to +1 it with the caveat that we disclude the mobile version.
Okay, I don't give a fuck. Put the game on it.
The mobile version should be included because that's actually 2022.
Oh, but it's like...
Oh wait, is Vampire Survivors did it not release this year?
It was actually technically end of last year.
it was in beta though, wasn't it? Like it's now a full release
It
this
was
year.
early access. 1.0 is this year. That's why I'm putting it
Release
in here.
release day is October 20th, 2022.
Yeah,
For the full version.
I had not
There you
played the full game. It was a Steam game, then Xbox Game Pass game. Those are just two platforms I don't play. And when it came to phone the other day, I was like, yeah! I jumped in, and the like the ads, not microtransactions because it's free, but the ad
You mean
experience
the
on
ads
there.
that you can absolutely ignore and not watch?
Yeah, but it's like 30 seconds that you have to just sit
Yeah,
there.
that you cannot watch and avoid if you
You can
don't
skip
want
them?
to. You don't have to do anything. It says watch ad to revive. Like normally it's just quit
Oh.
when you're on any other version.
But that's
you can
the thing.
decide not to.
Of course, I'm not gonna not die,
That's your
and
own
I'm
fault.
not gonna not get 500 extra gold.
Let's bring it back a little bit further. It's your fault you died. That ad wasn't going to show you if you didn't die.
Yeah, get good, Chad. Get good.
Yeah, get good, son.
Yeah, but I did. So I did get. I got Game Pass for Immortality yesterday, and I played 2 hours of Immortality, and I said no, thank you. And then I played 45 minutes of Vampire Survivors and said, this is the way this game is meant to be played.
good.
So I was like, yeah, Vampire Survivors 100% belongs on this list.
You
Chris?
are the bullet hell, so.
All right. Chris, were you going to say something? Have you played it?
I have not. It's loaded on my Steam Deck.
That's a great place to play it.
I got to that position where I had like a bunch of spinning plates, like a lot of games going, and I was like, I just need to fucking finish. Boom, 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 boom. So now I'm in a good spot where I can fire it up and just enjoy it without the anxiety of like being 3/4 of the way through like 6 games. But I 100% support it. The conversation has been phenomenally just like persistent, like since this thing's come out, and every single person that you see tweet about it is like, I can't stop playing. That is always sort of and I think like you got to put that game on there for that reason.
All right, Dusty.
Yeah,
Alex, I'm going with you last because I know you've played it and beaten it. So, Dusty, do you have any? Have you played it or? Well, yeah, because you were talking about it. Right?
I played so much of this. I played it actually primarily on the itch.io page, which means I was playing on that. I even loaded itch.io on my mobile browser and played it like that for like weeks because that game is really fucking good. I already love bullet hells. Enter the Gungeon, Binding of Isaac, that kind of stuff is like my kind of jam. And so this is just like immediately, and like Trevor said, the feedback loop just gets you. Like once you hear that ring of the chest and that ring of the level up, oh, you're done. You get that 5-item chest, game over. But not game over, but game over.
Game over for your enemies.
Alex.
Yeah, I mean, I played this game, as you previously mentioned, and this game is fantastic. I love how it kind of was able to take the kind of cookie clicker, like super addictive. You're making 100 cookies a second, then you're making 1,000 cookies a second, then you're making 1,000,000 cookies a second, and supplant that into like an action game mold. Yeah, totally deserving of being on the list.
Big thumbs up from this guy. Love that game. Played it on PC. It was wonderful. Chad, I'm going to do something real quick. Of course, you already put Vampire Survivors. Cool. Put Citizen Sleeper on the absolute list, but put an asterisk next to it.
Okay.
Because I don't want to put it over in the maybes because the people who played it really liked it. But just do that real quick for me. But otherwise, I think we're good. So it's me now. And right now we have 5 up there. Which one do I want to go with? You know what? Here we go. TMNT Shredder's Revenge.
Ooh.
Let me tell you. This game, here's the thing about like rose-colored glasses and nostalgia. Everyone's like, I remember those old beat-em-up games. They were fun. I loved them as a kid. And then people played the Cowabunga collection and were like, half these games are trash. Shredder's Revenge is what you think you remember from playing a Turtles beat-em-up.
That's the best way to describe it.
Yes, it is what you imagined when you were a kid, but actually good. It's fantastic. The game is just, like I said, it feels like what you remember. It's fast and fluid. The soundtrack is off the chain. It's amazing. Like, holy shit, it's wonderful. It was, I played it for about 3 hours. Me and my son played some co-op, and I don't think I've had a more fun 3 hours this year. Just like, here's the experience. This is perfect. Thank you. Have a good day. Adore this game. It should absolutely be on this list. That's my, what do you call it?
Does that count as an indie? Who published that? What is this game?
It's made by .emu. I will double check it, but it's not, things like .emu and...
Yeah, I think it should definitely be considered, if not here, then on the all, or both. But yeah, TMNT.
Maybe I will put it on the other one as well, Chad, when we get there, you know what I'm saying? It was published, it was published by .emu, a.k.a. not a major publisher.
Nice.
So I would count it as indie.
Nice.
Does anyone else anything about Shredder's Revenge?
Oh, I think it absolutely deserves to be on there. That game is kick ass.
Yep.
+1, +1.
Great
Masked Llama in the chat says Shredder's Revenge should have been GOTY.
Might be.
I don't know about all that, but it was very good.
This is one of the...
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I just want to say this is one of the few indie games that we've discussed so far that I did not beat. Not because I disliked what I played of it, but just because it was one of those things where I was not planning on playing it. A friend was like, hey, let's play a little bit of it in co-op. I said, sure. We played it for a couple of hours, and then my friend never got around to playing some more of it with me. I thought it was fine. I wasn't especially motivated to continue playing beyond that session, even like as like a multiplayer thing, but I have no qualms with having it be on the list, at least until we potentially get to some other nominees, but we'll wait on that.
Gotcha. And Chris, you said yes for you?
Yeah.
Okay. Dusty, did you play it at all?
No.
Play Shredder's Revenge.
No, I should. Like, look, the games that we chose, 8 games, that's like 8 of the 10 games I've played this year. So,
Understandable. I think that's enough yeses to put on the list.
Yeah.
Do we need to put an asterisk next to it? Was there enough?
I don't think anyone
I
said
think there
no
was
to
enough
this thing.
yeses. Yeah, so I think we're good. All right. Chad, you're up next then.
Ooh, let's see. I think my final one that I'll contribute to this list that hasn't been already been mentioned is Cuphead DLC. Delicious Last
The
Course.
DLC. I was going to put that on, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah. I was totally into this game. I feel like it is a standalone enough game. I mean, technically you have to own the original game to have it, but or to play it. But yeah, it's fantastic. It adds a brand new character. It adds so many different ways of tackling bosses, and there are a ton of extra bosses in here, and it just like levels everything up in a really fantastic way. This is another one that like I haven't beat, but I've played probably like 80% of the bosses now, and it's just fantastic. I love that game. So I'm going to put Cuphead DLC up for consideration.
Okay, I haven't played it, so I can't speak on it.
Enthusiastically support it. Like 4 of those, like I think 5 bosses are like in the top 5 like bosses of all the Cuphead bosses. The challenge mode is great. This is not like your bullshit like money grab like DLC. Like it is like one of the best DLCs I've ever played to an indie game, and totally worth checking out. If you loved Cuphead but haven't played this yet, you should.
If this was a money grabbing DLC, they were playing the long game.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Takes a while to animate those things, apparently.
It does.
And that's another like Miss Chalice too is like it's Cuphead and Mugman were basically just like palette swaps, but Miss Chalice is such a new way to play that game. It's fantastic.
So I got a question for the other 3. Did y'all play it at all, and what is your contribution, if you have contribution?
I've not played it, but it's Cuphead, and I will endorse it because Cuphead's great.
I made an attempt to get back to and try and finally beat the base version of Cuphead earlier this year. I got stuck at Mr. Diceman last time I played it, and I made a few attempts. I'm like, nah, not feeling this. But everything I've seen about it seems like a good game. I don't mind endorsing it.
All right, Chad, let's put this one with an asterisk because you guys like it, but it's enough of, well, we don't know yet that it couldn't possibly. So
we do also
that
have an
asterisk.
endorsement from Masked Llama, who I'm going to say is standing in for Al Pacino. Masked Llama in the chat says, none of the other games had Ghostface Killer on the soundtrack, but all gamer rage aside, those are all good choices.
That was TMNT, by the way, that had Ghostface on the soundtrack.
Yeah. Oh, obviously, obviously Ghostface Killer is not in Cuphead, but
I would love some of that like upbeat like jazz, like, and then Ghostface just comes in the soundtrack would be great.
That would be great. So now I have a question, because Chad said he has no more to contribute. Who still has indie games that they want to talk about? Because we still have spots. Raise your hands if you still got them. One, a couple people.
technically.
Okay, so I guess we'll go around and we'll skip Chad, because Chris, you go ahead and go again.
Rogue Legacy 2 is, I think, one of the better games I've played this year, period. Not just in the indie category. It's very, very tough, but fair. And another example of drip-fed new content in the form of like weapons and mechanics that kind of keep you coming back. I just adored this game. So it's my pick.
I would have also nominated it, so you got my backing, because I adore Rogue Legacy 2. I think it's better than the first in every way. It is. I think it's like that this year's like awesome roguelike. We've had Spelunky and we've had Hades and we've had all that stuff. This is the one for this year that I, personally
agree.
This is the one that I'm really sad I haven't gotten to play because I loved Rogue Legacy. It's on the list for me to play.
Yeah, the original Rogue Legacy was a game that I really loved on the Vita, and I'm looking forward to playing this sometime soon.
All right. I would say put that one on the list, but also with an asterisk, because only 2 people were super into it. As long as no one says it sucks ass, we can put it on there. Dusty, I'll let you go, because I think you said you had one more technically.
This is technically because it's made by Marvel, but I was going to put Marvel Snap.
That's my question. Because maybe this is on another list I have. Is this an indie game or is it not?
Is mobile game the third ship?
It was made by a smaller developer, but still under Marvel, and Marvel is Disney, so it's hard to say. But Marvel Snap is fucking good.
Oh, it's wonderful. Like I said, maybe it's on my overall game of the year list.
I'm gonna do a Google. Is Marvel Snap an indie game?
New verse. I'm gonna do. I don't know.
Marvel Snap is just a small indie company making its first big game. So that is people will call them an indie developer, and so I think it therefore counts as an indie game.
What do the rest of you guys feel like?
Because I love developer.
I don't know if it's
publisher. Developer or publisher?
Developer.
Publisher.
After
No, I'm asking what Adam's definition is.
I would say the publisher needs to be
Uverse? What's Uverse? They made Marvel Snap and Warhammer 40K Lost Crusade.
They seem like a mobile publisher. I have no idea. You want to put this in the maybe? Because again, I'm with you. Marvel Snap's awesome, but I don't know if this. So put it in the maybe chat. Because again, I also agree it's awesome, but I don't know if it should count as indie or not. I guess we'll talk about that when we get to the bottom of that list. It's amazing. So Alex, I guess you can go next then.
I do want to reconfirm. I can't nominate Inscription, correct?
No, you cannot.
Right? If we can nominate Marvel Snap.
Marvel Snap
came out this year.
Yeah.
That game came out 2022. Yeah.
Don't worry, though. I might not be able
Inscription's
to.
fucking good.
It is fucking good. However, even though I can't nominate it, I do have another nomination that I want to tip my hat to. The Bug Snacks Isle of Big Snacks DLC. I played through this a couple of months ago, and I was pleasantly surprised by how good its sort of new story content and big snacks were to capture and eat through. And it also added a bunch of like fun new kind of quality of life stuff to the game. You have like a hut now that you could build up. That DLC was real fun, and I feel like if we're going to nominate the Cuphead DLC to this list, I figure that I should give a tip of the hat to the Isle of Big Snacks DLC as well.
I have nothing to add to that except for Chad. What the fuck are you doing to these words?
As we start adding things, we got to make sure they don't overlap.
I need people to know the way that for audio listeners, he put Rogue, Big L, Little G, Big C 2.
Legacy.
I saw what you did, but if I didn't know, if you just put that up, I go, I don't know.
Large carbon.
The TMNT Shredder's Revenge is just turtle sword shredder.
Coffee face
DLC is Cuphead.
I like it. Who does anyone? Is this a maybe or do we put it? Do you guys think we should put it on the list? Because I
forgot. What are we talking about? What game is this again?
The Bug Snacks DLC.
Oh, Bug Snacks DLC. Isle of Bug Snacks.
I feel like that's a maybe. Maybe.
I feel like it's a maybe.
I think Alex, are you the only one on this call that played it?
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't know it came out.
Same.
Oh, well, that's too bad.
I guess put it on the maybe because he's the only one talking about it.
I've never bug snacked, unfortunately.
I haven't played the original either.
I love the original game. I thought it was the most underrated thing. Actually, that's the most underrated.
I was disturbed.
The original Bug Snacks was like this like weird spiritual successor to Pokemon Snap that you never knew that you wanted. That feels very different from Pokemon Snaps, but like totally lives up to like mechanically what that game was going for.
That's legitimately what I've heard. So.
I just don't remember having an emotionally shaking revelation during Pokemon Snap.
By the way, just for context, the Isle of Big Snacks DLC released in April of this year. So I guess a little bit of like a no man's land for like video game releases. Because it doesn't seem like a lot of other people played it as well. And so, hey, even if it doesn't get on, I'm glad I got a chance.
Yeah, we got to talk about things we like. It's all good. Trevor, do you have something?
I'm gonna be honest. I'm genuinely surprised this one has not come up yet, and so I got to put it on here. Cult of the Lamb.
Yeah, you took it off my list. This will be next for me.
Yeah, Cult of the Lamb it was an absolutely incredible game. That was the game that was going to be my nomination until I got addicted to Vampire Survivors. Cult of the Lamb is phenomenal. I never thought I needed a Hades meets Animal Crossing with a little bit of a cult sim in there, but it's exactly what it is, and I loved every minute I played of that game.
Big agree. It's awesome.
Find me that little lamb. Find me that little lamb emote.
There he is.
Find it. Yeah.
It's for me. It's like, oh, hey, if Animal Crossing, because I thought Animal Crossing was fine for like a week, then I was over it. But it's like the cool stuff of Animal Crossing is like you can spend a whole bunch of time on that, and then also do some dungeons as like a roguelike thing. And I'm like, oh, this is all
also,
awesome.
In Animal Crossing, when a neighbor pisses you off and is being a little jerk, you can't throw them in the stocks. But in Cult of the Lamb, you can send those little fuckers there all you want.
Sacrifice them to Cthon. It's all good. Do your thing. Yeah, I second it as someone who loves Cult of the Lamb as well.
That is one of the games that is like, I wish I had time to get to that at all in 2022, but I just didn't have time. But I heard it's fantastic.
I enthusiastically endorse it. I beat it. I think the best thing about that game being a hybrid is that you can split your time between kind of the two mechanics however you want. So if you're more into the cult Animal Crossing stuff, you can do that. If you like the combat, you can go do that. And they both kind of feed into each other and complement each other. It's one of the best games I've played all year. So, yep.
Dusty or Alex, anything from you? I guess Dusty
Never
first.
played it. I meant to get around to it, but no, I don't mind endorsing it.
I mean, same. I never got around to playing it, even though it's a roguelite, which is, again, extremely my shit. Just never got around to playing it.
I'm going to throw a Nintendo Online money card at you next time I see you, Dusty, and then you just buy it.
I would say put it on there, because if we go half or more, I'm not putting the asterisk. So I guess let's put that as a...
Yeah,
sure.
I put that on there full lamb.
Yeah. We're running out of room over here in our POTY GOTYs.
I never want to hear Chad say full lamb again.
So I do have a question now that we have a good amount, and this list is getting full, but that's fine. Again, talk about what you want. Who else has stuff left? Because I have a couple things. Maybe I think only looking at my list, I think only one of these things actually would deserve to maybe be on the list. So I'll cede it to anyone else if they have any things they want to talk about. But if you don't, I'll go ahead and go with my last. Nothing from anybody? All right. Well, maybe
I feel like we would get yelled at if we didn't mention Sifu. But
no, okay, so there's two others, but I have, well, first off, I'm gonna say no to Sifu.
Yeah, I'm also saying no to Sifu. But
the other one,
let's bring it up so we can denounce it and say no, you're not a part of it.
There is another one that I know is in a lot of conversations. It was just one of those that I also didn't have the time to play. But I want to hear what Adam has to add, and then if it's that one, it is.
Okay, yeah, I have 2 on here. I'll just spit them out. We'll see what it... Again, Sifu, cool game. I love the art direction, especially in that 3rd level. I will never think about that video game ever again.
It was a game. It was a video game.
It's a video game. It's whatever. For me, I have 2. I have Ollie Ollie World up here. And then I also have As Dusk Falls on my list. And I'm trying to think, do any of those... Here's the thing that I'll say. Ollie Ollie World is fantastic. It's basically the old Trials games where you would do your runs and try to, do everything perfectly, but mixed with I'm a 20-something skater and a cel-shaded world. It's got a cool style and all that. And I really like it, but again, it's a thing. I don't know if enough people played it for me to make a big argument for it. And then As Dusk Falls, I think it's really, really cool that a narrative choice game, the choices actually matter. People can die just out of nowhere in that game. And the art style grew on me, and I really liked it. But again, I don't know if that's enough of a thing for people to oh, absolutely put that on there. So those are my last 2. I don't even know if they're bothered putting in the maybe pile, because I don't even know if anyone else is going to care about either one of those games.
Didn't play either one.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, neither of those were ones that I played. Ollie Ollie World is on my list. Dusk Falls didn't interest me. But Ollie Ollie World is definitely one that I want to check out at some point.
It's really cool. What about I saw Dusty throw up the hands, so I'm assuming you don't have thoughts on that.
That's fine. They're words.
Yeah.
I've heard
Chris,
of them. That's it.
Yeah. Chris or Alex?
I'm intrigued, but I haven't played either, so I don't have a very strong opinion.
I didn't play either, so I don't have much of an opinion either.
Okay, well, that's fine. Again, I just want to mention them. They're cool, but that's fine that they're on there. Trevor, what was...
it's I don't know if anybody else has played it. I know it's in a lot of the conversation, but Stray is one that I have literally downloaded on my PlayStation right now, and I just haven't gotten a chance to play, but I know a lot of people have been enjoying it.
I say most overrated game of the year. That's just me. It's fine. It's like a 7. It's like a cool 7. It's a pretty 7, and I don't give a shit about that fucking cat. I do not care.
We did our like mini spoiler cast on the podcast quite some time ago, in which we all talked about this game, and I definitely walked out of that the most positive person on that game. I think it's pretty good actually, but yeah, it's not in my personal top 8 indie games of the year.
Okay.
I played it, and as much as I love cats, having a dedicated meow button, amazing thing. More games should have it. However, like I didn't finish it. It's very pretty. It's very cute. I wouldn't say it's anywhere near game of the year. I feel the story is like people are thinking it's deeper than it actually is because you're playing as little cute meow meow. That's about it.
Yeah. We all agree. The game sucks. No, I'm playing. I just don't. I'm with you. It's not top 8. So are we fine with
it's solid 7.
Yeah, it's like it's pretty good. It looks pretty. So are we fine with the list we have here? Remember, the asterisks are the maybes. So right now,
I'm going to swap
sure,
some of these out so that we know what's a maybe and it's a little bit easier to tell.
All right, yeah, I'll read them off for what do we call them? The listeners.
Yeah,
that's what those people are called. So we have Tunic. These are for sure's, by the way, that are locked in. Tunic, Neon White, Vampire Survivors, Cult of the Lamb, Teenage Mutant Turtles: Shredder's Revenge, and that's 5. So now we have to figure out between the rest of them what we think deserves to go on here. So we have 3 spots open, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games for 3 spots. So if anyone wants to start the bidding, feel free to about where do you think we should go. Oh, I want to start here. Do we think Marble Snap should be in the indie list? Again, honestly, I adore the game, but is it indie?
At this point, I'd rather not argue about it and just do the thing, so I'm going to say no.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to say no. I would rather defer it to the AAA games list.
Same. I think it's worth bringing it up there as a conversation still. Absolutely. So
I'm bringing it up in Game of the Year if you don't, so it's fine. So go ahead and get out Marvel Snap. Yeah, I think it's great. I just don't think it's indie, which is fine. Which leaves us with Citizen Sleeper, Cuphead DLC, Rogue Legacy 2, Immortality, and Bug Snacks DLC. So does anyone have a spot where they want to start the bidding? Because again, we have 3 spots open.
Okay, I am, despite the fact that I haven't played any of them. I actually think Citizen Sleeper should get the spot.
I'm going to go Trevor. I think it should stay there.
We do have 3 spots, right?
Yes, we have 3 spots.
Yeah, we have 3 spots.
Oh,
3 spots, 5 games.
Yeah, 5 games, and we got to pick 3 out of this 5.
Then
I agree.
Final
Citizen
8.
Sleeper was awesome.
Then I would go Citizen Sleeper, Immortality, Rogue Legacy 2. Essentially, I would take the DLCs off.
I would vote against Bug Snacks because Alex is the only one who played it.
As somebody who brought up Bug Snacks, I have no qualms taking it off as well.
Let's go and take some Bug Snacks out then.
Okay. Bug Snacks got snacked.
we ate them things up, curly fry worms, whatever. So now we have Citizen Sleeper, Cuphead DLC, Rogue Legacy 2, and Immortality. Which one of these 4 doesn't make it? Because that's the easiest way to do this.
We all know my vote's Immortality.
Chad doesn't like Immortality. Okay.
My vote's Cuphead.
You don't think Cuphead?
I'm fine with Cuphead being removed too, just because it is DLC, and I'm just kind of on the fence still about that. More from a semantics point anyway. So I'd be fine with. Go ahead.
Yeah, if you were going to include DLC, I would have freaking put Dead Cells up there, but we're not. So
yeah. So you think Cuphead should be the one that's not included then?
As much as I loved it, yes.
What about you, Alex?
Yeah, it's between Immortality and Cuphead for me. I feel bad for you, Chad, but I'm gonna vote off the Cuphead DLC.
All right.
Trust me, I don't want to see it go because I think it's great, but
yeah. I know where you live, Alex. Somewhere in Canada.
It's a pretty small place. About a day or 2 of searching, you'll find them.
It's going to come get you. All right. So our top 8. Again, this, by the way, our bracket that we're going to do the Game of the Year off of is going to be randomized by a third party. So we don't know the actual seating yet. But on our top 8 list, which we'll do a bracket and figure out the winner, we have Tunic, Neon White, Cult of the Lamb, Vampire Survivors, Teenage Mutant TMNT, Shredder's Revenge. Those are hard words to say. Citizen Sleeper, Immortality, and Rogue Legacy 2. I think that's a solid 8.
I just want to point out in this moment here that it was funny that the estimate for this episode was going to be an hour.
It's only been 45 minutes. And the thing is, we've already talked about these games, so we don't need to redo the same arguments if they're on Game of the Year.
And then we got Game of the Year after that, so it'll be
fun. Yeah. Hour and a half will be all right. Okay, so that's our indie list. And again, us three hosts will figure it out. We're going to move on to Respawn Inspired POTY GOTYs for the overall Game of the Year. So I'm going to go reverse order. And again, this is any game that came out in 2022, indie, AAA, otherwise, whatever we want to do. I'm going to go reverse order, just to be fair.
Sorry, I'm just looking at Al Pacino's face again.
I'm not going to lie, I've left the stream up just so I can occasionally look over and see myself next to Al Pacino.
Oh, he's great. He's great. We need to give more love to Flute Guy this time, though.
Yeah, it's true. Dusty, get on it. You're next Flute Guy.
Your Flute Guy's friend. So, Chad, did you write those down, Chad?
Yeah, I mean, I've still got it.
Okay. Yeah, keep that somewhere so we don't lose it. Because I did not write it down. I guess we're going to go. Like I said, overall game of the year. It could be anything, AAA, indie, whatever you think the best experience in 2022 was. Trevor, you're going to go first.
I mean, for audio listeners, it's a little not as obvious, but I'm going with the Elden Ring.
Can you do your ring fit squats? Elden Ring fit squats.
I mean, it's not people have heard about it. I guess tell us why you think it's so good.
God, I don't even know where to begin on this. I mean, Elden Ring is one of the Soulsborne games. I absolutely love those. In fact, last year I did a full playthrough of Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Bloodborne, and then Elden Ring came out and I played that all the way through as well. Wow. I love these games. I'm actually, fun fact, I'm in the middle of that same playthrough right now. I'm almost done with Dark Souls 3. And then today I was just so fucking excited for Elden Ring that I started my new character early because I'm like, I need to play this game. It has just so much of what I enjoy about all of those games with so much more. It's got this massive open world. It's got challenges everywhere. It has secrets everywhere. Like that, when I was a kid, one of the things that I used to do was just run around like Ocarina of Time and just try to find any secret that I could, anything that I thought might lead to something new. And Elden Ring has all of that. It is just a magical game with a freaking badass soundtrack that I just absolutely love. Like anytime I think about it, it just brings a smile on my face. Now, is that because anytime I think of that game, it has my teal-skinned, purple-haired dude that is just looking completely out of place in this dark medieval fantasy? Yes, but it's also still a fantastic game, and it's my game of the year.
Yeah,
right. How does the
playing
panel
this game.
feel? Oh, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, Alex, you started playing on stream, right?
Yeah, I've been playing this game all throughout the past 2 weeks. I stopped temporarily only because I had to go to Toronto and thus was out of town. And yeah, I've been having a ton of fun with this game. I find this game a kind of great refinement of some of the Soulsborne games I played in the past. No clue when I'll ever actually be able to finish it, but I'm continuing to have fun with it and, slowly and surely enrich my understanding of its world and mechanics and, figure out how to better master it over time.
Dusty, I also see your background. Do you enjoy this video game or no?
Oh, absolutely, yes. This game I've played so much. It's one of the games where I played through the beginning of it. And Elden Ring was like, I played Bloodborne like late last year. Early last year, again, late last year. Fucking amazing game. It's like, okay, I'll play this. And spent maybe like 15 hours plus and it's like, oh, this build's not working for me. I'm just going to start over. And then I did start over and played like 80 plus hours until I finished the actual game. It's fantastic. The combat system, the world, because that game world is so much bigger than I expected. Like, I don't realize it's going to be a fucking open world. It's good. It's fucking good, yeah.
Chris, you hate From Software, right?
Yeah, they're one of the worst developers. No, Adam and I podcasted together for many years. I am a From Software simp of the highest order. I would argue that Dark Souls, the original, is probably the most influential game to come out in the last like 10 years or so. And I think Elden Ring is basically the culmination of everything that they've been working towards since that game, since Dark Souls. I think added with the accessibility of all the things that they added to make it a little more approachable to other players. You can still make it tough as nails if you want, but like the spear dashes and all that stuff, I think they hit it way out of the park. And I forgot which one of y'all said it's a way bigger world than you expected. Yeah, the first time the map like zoomed out a little bit more, and then I was like, huh, like, okay, like I wonder how much bigger. And then like by the end, just like realizing, wow, so this is gigantic. I think this is gonna be like my every year, like my favorite game of the year. Like I'll do a victory lap. This is definitely gonna be like my victory lap. I cannot wait to new game plus it, crush everything in the beginning, and then get to Melania again, probably cry. But it's okay. Like that boss fight, I think in particular, like deserves a huge shout out because like it became literally a meme in a news story with let me solo her, and just like the culture around that. I mean, just the conversation was so exciting when people were all playing this. So no higher endorsement. It is my game of the year as well.
Yeah, Melania's pretty easy. Chad, you're the one who convinced me to buy this game in the first place. So what are your opinions on it, man?
I've only played about 20 or 30 hours of it, which sounds, any other game, you're like, oh, yeah, that's enough to know everything about this game. But for this game, I feel like I've only scratched the surface. In that 20 to 30 hours, I really liked it. I think it is the best Soulsborne game that's out there. I think it should definitely be in the conversation. Absolutely top 8. I just don't see yet from that amount of time how it beats some other games that are in consideration. But in its defense, I also, until around hour 40 of God of War Ragnarok, wouldn't have been convinced that was Game of the Year either. So, like, there's a lot more of this game that I haven't seen yet, and it's not my Game of the Year, but I think it is absolutely worth being in the discussion.
Yeah, I'll throw it on there. Go ahead and type it in chat.
Elden Lord.
I would like to make 2 notes. One, Dusty, you talked about the giant open world and how much there is to learn and everything. I'm actually wearing a sweater for a YouTube channel called VOTY Vidya. If you ever want to get interested in any of the Soulsborne lore, go check that one out. The other note that I do want to give is while this is my game of the year, and I do agree with Chris that it was more accessible. I will say the biggest knock I have against what is possibly my favorite game of all time is I don't think it did enough towards accessibility. That is the one thing that I will put on there.
Very cool. Yeah, accessible to me. Again, beat Melania in 3 tries, no problem. I'm the Elden Lord and best person in the world at that video game.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's fucking awesome, and I love you.
I did. So I guess we'll go on to the next one. This is out of order, but Chad, I mean, I know you want to talk about it, so I'm not going to take your baby away from you.
Yeah, it's God of War Ragnarok. Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was Marvel Snap.
No, God of War Ragnarok. Favorite game of all time. It's fantastic. It's incredible.
Wow.
I wasn't sure until the last few hours of that game whether that was going to be even better than God of War 2018. I was just like, I don't know. But yeah, the last few hours just like cemented that thing into my freaking Hall of Fame. So I'm putting out God of War Ragnarok for consideration.
We got to talk about it first. Don't just type it in.
I only put up POTY GOTY.
No, I think out of every game that came out this year, it's probably my favorite like story and like, arc. Like I love the characters.
Yeah,
man, I love all those characters. I love the one that I've already told you guys who my favorite character is. We had a spoiler cast on it. Man, good stuff. It's very good, very polished. Solid. I definitely think it deserves to be here, but I'll be quiet now. Someone else could talk.
I will say I adore this game. I don't think it's quite my game of the year. However, I'm with Chad. The last chapter of the game, they really tied everything together of that game so well. Also, playing this, like I actually started God of War 2018 this year. Like I played it and finished it probably 2 weeks before Ragnarok came out. So going back to back was like a really good continuation of the story, and also playing it in conjunction while also watching Andor live like episode to episode, those two stories have much more in common than I initially expected. Uh, and it works. It gives me those moments of like, that is not about to fucking happen. Fuck you. Fuck everything. No. But then it happens. Also, the combat in that, like, switching between the weapons is like seamless, much more seamless than it was in 2018. And they like, the Leviathan Axe feels so good, but the other weapons are good. They're great. It's a good game.
Blades all the way. What about you other folks? Do you guys like it? Hate it? Cozy hates it, I know.
Absolutely hated it. No, this game obviously is very special. You know, I think that there is so much to love in this game. I was shocked by how good feeling that new weapon Kratos may or may not get in this game feels, especially considering how great his other two weapons already feel. Again, this is all just hypothetical. I will say the more distance that I've had from this game, the more and more I find my mind wandering to a place of criticism, specifically criticism over the game's overall pacing. The final chapter of the game does do, as has already been said, a fantastic job of, bringing everything together from throughout the rest of the game preceding it. But it does definitely feel a little bit fast. And in contrast, I do think that the beginning of the game does feel quite a bit slow, but undeniably, indisputably, this game is still well deserving of being on this list. No doubt about that.
Chris or Trevor? I guess Chris first, because you're closest to me.
Yeah, look, the reputation of this podcast would be in serious question if this game didn't make it to the conversation. I had a great time with Ragnarok. I think the highs of this game surpass anything in God of War 2018. Unfortunately, I think there's some lows that also go far below 2018. So quickly in the conversation of 2018 versus Ragnarok, I think 2018 is a more perfect video game than this one. I had also some pacing issues more towards the middle for me. There were some doldrums in there that really came close to frustrating me. Not quite there, but close. But still, at the end of the day, like, the story to this was awesome. The scale was epic, and I screamed at my TV on multiple occasions. I think it is a fantastic video game that definitely deserves to be in the conversation, and still one of the greatest games of all time. It's just not quite as perfect as 2018, and that's okay. It's a high bar to clear, excuse me. So,
Trevor?
I just want to start off by saying fuck you, Chad, for putting GOW rag rock.
And it's a rock
emoji rock.
I tried to find an emoji of a rag, but I couldn't find one.
that right there, that what's on screen right now is almost as worse as the Emoji Movie as a whole.
Wow.
So I haven't played it. Much like Dusty, I played God of War 2018 for the first time this year. I played quite a bit of it back in 2018, but it didn't hook me back then. I got to. It was after the Dark Elves. I can't remember. And I got to after there, and where they're like, okay, we're gonna be going to other worlds and whatnot, and I just stopped playing. And this year I picked it back up from the same save, and I found that wasn't a problem in any way, that I hadn't played it in 4 years. I was like, oh yeah, no, okay, yeah, no, you're this, okay, yeah, you're that, okay, yeah, I got this. But I will say I enjoyed the game, but even that one probably wouldn't have been my game of the year of 2018. It was really, really, really good, but there were a lot of problems. And what worries me about what Chris was saying, though, is like, I had the problems that y'all are having with Ragnarok with the 2018 one. I thought the pacing was not great. Some of the combat was fun at times, because then it would just be the same three enemies over and over and over again, over and over and over again. And I've heard that Ragnarok got better with that, which I'm really excited about. This is a game that I'm going to play. The reason, besides the fact that I haven't played it, that it's not my game of the year, is because in my head, game of the year is like, it's that game that controlled the conversation of that year. When you think back to that year, that's the game that you think of. And Elden Ring had, the whole thing. And The points that I will give Ragnarok, though, was this entire year was hype for God of War Ragnarok. People were talking about it coming out. And if it had come out earlier in the year, I'm sure it would have controlled the conversation for almost the majority of it. But yeah, I think it absolutely deserves to be on this list, though.
I was about to say, you're saying it should not be on the list.
No, I am saying that it should be on the list. It's just, for me, it came out really close to when these conversations are happening. And so it's hard to know if that conversation is going to continue on for several months or if it is going to die off.
Gotcha. Well, these top two are locked in, and as they should. I mean, and now is where it gets fun, because who knows what's going to happen. I'll go back to the way I was going. Cozy, give me a nomination for Game of the Year, baby.
As you said, this is going to get real interesting from here on out, because it's going to be tough to find a game that can compete with these two juggernauts. But nevertheless, I do want to put my card on the table for Splatoon 3. Now, I do want to preface this by saying that while I did play the Splatoon 3 multiplayer component of that game, which is typically what people think of with Splatoon 3, most of my time was actually spent with the single-player campaign, which is primarily what I'm going to be talking about here, because I really had a lot of fun with it. I feel like we're so used to Nintendo games being great by this point that we tend to kind of forget just how good their design acumens are. And even after playing Super Mario Odyssey earlier this year, I kind of went into Splatoon 3 being like, all right, we'll see how good this is. And I walked away thoroughly satisfied. I found Splatoon 3 single-player campaign to be a very, 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 very good 3D platforming campaign. And I like the way in which it kind of wrapped together elements from all three Splatoon games throughout the series. It's just really good to have a Nintendo game that respects its own lore and like adds to what has already existed before. Because I feel like it's quite often with, say, the Mario series that each new Mario game kind of follows its own continuity and doesn't feel particularly concerned with following up on things that were introduced in the past. So yeah, Splatoon 3. Single player.
Anyone else?
I did not see that coming.
Really? Oh, of course.
I was going to jokingly be
Splatoon.
when he was just like, and that game is, I was going to Digimon Survive.
I guess the question is, did anyone else play Splatoon and feel anything about it? Is the question? Or Splatoon 3, excuse me.
Here's the problem. I've only played
good
Splatoon
things.
2. And I did.
I like Splatoon 2. I like, if it's anything like Splatoon 2, I liked it, but I haven't played it.
Yeah.
Okay.
The thing about it was like all I played of Splatoon 2 was the multiplayer, and I did not enjoy it. But Alex is specifically saying, let's do the single player. I was like, oh, I have zero opinions then on that. I have no idea.
I like how you were like, I liked Splatoon 2, but I didn't like the multiplayer, and that was literally all that game was.
I talked about this. I just want to say real quick. I talked about this a little bit on the podcast after I first talked about it a few months ago. Like, playing through the Splatoon 3 single-player campaign made me really excited about the idea of eventually, at some point, getting a Splatoon spin-off that is just a like focused single-player campaign. Because there is something like really special to this series, and I would love to see them take it to sort of like the next level in the same way that we saw from Software, you know, take the Soulsborne formula and go open world with it with Elden Ring.
Cool. I would say, Chad, put it in the maybe, because he feels strongly about it, but no one else played it. So put that over in the maybe. But again, we're talking about things we like, so it's all good. Dusty, give us something.
I played much more indie games this year than main games, just because like that's just what I play. What I'm going to put up there, I'm going to put Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, because I fucking adored those games. It is quite literally the game that every Pokemon fan legitimately wanted. I think at this point, Game Freak is just being held back that they have probably a forever contract with Nintendo, because that game did not run well initially, but I powered through that shit because that game was good.
That's what everyone says. It's like, it runs like trash, and I fucking love this video game. So that's
it's fantastic. Like, legitimately, they did a story, a good Pokemon story. Like, there's a boss, like a final boss fight at the end of that game that is like one of the dopest shit Pokemon has done.
All right, cool. Anyone else?
Fantastic.
Anyone else play it? I know that us three didn't play it, so I don't know if you other two did.
I didn't play it, but this is the one where I'm like, I hear so much about this game, and I'm trying to wrestle with the fact of like, if it's broken janky, well, it's not broken, but if it's janky, does it deserve Game of the Year or at least a nod that way? But then I start thinking about like Cyberpunk 2077. Like that was janky as fuck and even broken, but I think that did deserve at least some nod towards Game of the Year. Even though I didn't play it. I didn't play it, but everyone felt so strongly about it. It was like, yeah,
I disagreed on our original podcast about that.
Did not matter.
The answer is unequivocally no.
Great game. Everyone liked it. So put it in the maybes because we only have one person who played it. But we're highlighting. Chris. Go ahead.
I just want to say real quick, as Adam mentioned earlier, the three of us haven't played it. I will say I am happy that Nintendo did come out and say, hey, we're going to look into the problems with this game and do our best to, not obviously utterly fix them, but improve upon them. I was saying that to, my fellow podcast co-hosts and some other people privately that like, I'm going to wait to see that if and when the game gets fixed to finally play it. And they were all saying like, that's not going to happen. There's no way they're going to fix this thing. And so I am happy that Nintendo is, aware of the issues that us customers have with the game and is going to go in and fix it.
Yeah, hopefully. Chris, throw us a nomination.
So you guys can tell me if you think this is a no-go, but it's technically not DLC, but Destiny 2 The Witch Queen.
Ooh,
even though I bitch about Destiny all the time and their crappy seasonal model.
What's the bitch
about? Don't you love the Halloween event? It's so good.
Okay, fuck you, I do.
I think this is possibly the best story they've told in the Destiny universe, and it was a great payoff to a lot of stuff that was teased for like years for some of the stuff. So I really liked it. I think it wasn't called the heroic campaign. What was it? Legendary mode.
Yeah.
Was awesome. I soloed that shit. I just powered through. That was fantastic.
You soloed the Savathun boss fight? On Legend?
On Legendary. I did.
Oh my God.
I knew we had something in common when you're like, oh yeah, Elden Ring, because we hate each other because we love Elden Ring. We hate ourselves, but good I was like, Lord, holy shit!
Did I mention I beat Eleni in 3 tries?
Yeah, talk about a fucking asterisk. I know there's an asterisk somewhere in there, like with summons and.
Was I extremely over leveled? Absolutely. Was I 175 when I beat that video game the first time? Yes, I was. Anyways, Chad, here's the thing. I want to hear about from the other Destiny players. Do you think it deserves to be on this list?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's a full ass, like 12-hour campaign, even more if you fucking suck and you played on Legend like we did. It took us several days to beat it, but yeah, and everything Chris says is true. It was like the best storytelling that Destiny's had so far, even throughout some of the seasons that have come this year too. Like it's extended throughout that too. So, and a lot of really good quality of life improvements for the game itself have come out of that too. So I think I'm gonna stamp of approval of this.
This was one of the larger expansions that they had for the game. Like this one felt like its own game, and I think that's why I'm more inclined to go with this, because it is DLC compared to other ones. Like even like. I don't know why someone would be doing like, the Coliseum update for Elden Ring Game of the Year, but I'd be like, no, there's not enough. We're not enough content there. No.
Destiny's different though. It's a live service game. This is the iteration like Destiny's in right now, so it is kind of like always a little bit of a reset.
Yeah. Like
go
good.
Okay. I was gonna say just one of my favorite raids too. Like I gotta shout out the Val the Disciple raid, which is just amazing. But anyway.
I'm gonna.
I would be. Yeah. I'm fine with putting it on. I know that I have like a bias towards it and everything like that. If people were not okay with putting it on, I'd also understand.
I'm gonna look down here at Flute Guy on Twitch. Hey, Flute Guy.
It honestly, you know what I realized halfway through the show? It looks like he's about to shoot a blow dart into Dusty's head. Like he's just like, there he is.
I will say. Put it on the list with an asterisk because I feel like it deserves to be on because it's my first time playing Destiny 2. But put an asterisk because if it's like the first to go, to me, it'd be the first to go. That's so fair. Put an asterisk, but I'd say put it on there for that fucking video game you made me
the
play.
Other DLCs. I think that's fair.
Yeah. So Chad, you already went. So I guess it's me because that was Chris's, right? Yeah.
You can find a crown. You can find a crown. Trust me.
That's not even a witch. That's a fairy.
That is a witch.
That's a witch.
Oh no, that's
it?
a wizard.
No, that's a
It
witch.
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. See, this is tough. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna nominate. I'm going to get out the way. Marvel's Midnight Suns. Let me tell you.
Oh.
It just came out, right? Well, here's the thing, because I'm making my list of my top 8. And after God of War and Elden Ring, my list is basically what's on the indie list and then 2 Marvel games. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about Marvel's Midnight Suns. I was worried. I'm like, this idea is cool. Like, I'm going to watch The Runaways. I'm going to read all the comics because this idea is interesting, but are they going to be able to pull it off? There's all these delays. And then they came out and it's like, oh, it's Fire Emblem Three Houses, except for it's Marvel. And the strategy combat is better than like any Fire Emblem game ever. It's awesome. The game is legit great. All the writing's good. All these interpersonal relationships between these superheroes. And you're just like, hey, what if like Blade had a crush on Miss Marvel, but then like Wolverine came through and like crashed the party? And you're just sitting there like, what is this video game? But this is also awesome. And honestly, the strategy combat can't be beaten. And it's a full ass RPG. It is not just like a XCOM Marvel. It is like, no, this is an RPG where just like the strategy combat is phenomenal. It's great. I'm playing through it right now. I've probably put 30-ish hours into it, and it's only been a week, maybe 40, something like that. And I just can't stop playing. I adore it. And if like a full ass RPG Marvel game doesn't interest you, you're crazy. Spider-Man's in it too. Everyone likes Spider-Man,
and it's Yuri. It's Yuri Unfall.
It's Yuri. Yeah. All the actors. First, everyone gives great performances, and everybody is like who you would expect them to be. It's like Yuri is Spider-Man. Steve Bloom is Wolverine, which I believe he's Wolverine in the 90s, right? Like
no, 2000, but yeah.
Yeah. Nico is literally the girl from the Runaways TV show, and she's like, "How about I play Nico again?" It's great. It's wonderful. Everyone should play it.
So here's the thing. I do want to play it. It is on my list. Mm-hmm. When I first heard about it, and they're like, XCOM people are making a Marvel game, I'm like, let's fucking go. And then they were like, it's card combat. I went, I fucking done. But then I heard that it was that the combat was actually really good. The card combat worked well. And then they're like, oh, also there's a whole other section of the game that's just talking to characters. And I went, okay, you had me back up and now you've got me back out. But then they were like, no. Here's the thing. And this, I swear to God, this is what made me go, I'm going to play this game. They're like, yeah, one of the problems with it, though, is that by the end of all the friendship lines, like, that superhero wants to be, like, your best friend. It feels kind of fanfic. I went, that sounds fantastic. I want Peter Parker to want me as his best friend. Are you fucking kidding me? That's what I want.
It's great. They work the line where it's like, Marvel's, like, has control of these characters. We can't be romance. But let's be honest. You're hanging out in a lot of bathing suits. And everyone's like, hey, we're real good friends. What if we made
the friend zone the goal?
And the combat is card combat, but it's not like my cards versus your cards. It's like, hey, here's my abilities. And again, it's synergy. Let me match up this with that, do some movement, push that person into that person. Ghost Rider does his ultimate. It's great.
What was that? Slay the Spire. I heard it was very much like that.
It feels like when you play your ability to Slay the Spire.
Okay, now you've got
me in. But movement on a 3D plane.
Yeah.
So that's what my nomination. What do you guys think?
Yeah, this and Crisis Core are my like 2 most anticipated games for the next 3 or 4 months. So I'm okay with this being on the list. I guess maybe an asterisk because like you're the only one that's played it, maybe. But I support it being on there.
I'm fine with an asterisk.
Yep. I'm fine with it being on as well.
I want to see how you type this in. But go ahead. Are you saying something, Alex? Alex, are you saying something, or was it Dusty? Somebody said something.
I mean, okay. I'm okay with being this. Like, I've heard good things about it. He's saying Slay the Spire movement has got me in because Slay the Spire is probably the game I've played the most on the most different platforms. The only thing I've like heard about it is like a lot of things from the queer community is like, okay, yeah, you could go to their birthday parties, but you can't kiss Wolverine. So what's the point?
Yeah, that's true. You can't kiss anybody.
Yeah, that I understand though. They're owned by Marvel. Yeah, but I mean, it's something that I'll probably pick up like next year.
Okay, cool. So go and put it on there with an asterisk. We'll go back down to Trevor. Nothing?
No, I know. I'm just shaking my head watching this motherfucker type words in.
Yeah.
What?
Person 12 a.m. sun emoji.
Put a child 12 a.m. and then a sun.
This is the gender neutral emoji for superhero.
To me, it just looks like Ash Ketchum. Like, what? Oh, he does have a mask on. Oh, okay. I thought the mask was his hat. I mean, here's the thing. To be fully honest, I have no other AAA.
That's fine.
Game of the year. However,
that's no problem.
We said we couldn't put it on one list, but we're gonna put it on another. And you know what? It's here. The time is now. Marvel Snap.
Says
Marvel
the guy who didn't want to do card combat.
Marvel fucking Snap. Yeah, but you know what? That card combat would not take max 3 minutes. No, Marvel Snap is one of those games that I saw a video for towards the beginning of the year, and they were talking about the mechanics and the simplicity of the card game, and I went, that sounds fucking great. Like, let's go. And then they're like, it's not out yet. And I went, well, why the fuck did you talk to me about it? And then it came out on Android, and I was super jealous because I still want to play this game. Kept hearing really good things. I heard about the monetization at the beginning was not great, and then that got changed right before it was released on iOS. And the day it got released on iOS, I don't think I did anything else that day. Like, that was all that I did, was just sit there, play games, make new decks, unlock more cards. I mean, we talked about feedback loop earlier with Vampire Survivors. This game, at the beginning, like, it slows down as you're going into it, but at the beginning of it, you are just playing games, you're unlocking cards, you're getting boosts, you're making your cards look shiny. Like, it is an ADHD person's fucking banquet. Like, they're like, we're gonna fucking hit you with so many things so fast, that dopamine ain't gonna quit, boy. And it's still one of the games that, like, I will take out of my pocket and just play if I'm sitting in somewhere and I've only got a couple minutes or whatnot. And it's wild because I'm playing against other people, and I normally hate playing against other people. I just do not care. But it doesn't feel that way because of the mechanics. It feels like we're both playing a puzzle game and we can affect each other's puzzles. And it's got the right set of things that make me want to keep playing it. I think it's a great game.
Right. I mean, I agree. I think I loved it. Like, I really got sucked into it, so I wouldn't be upset with it being on that list.
I fully support it.
I mean,
yeah, fully support.
It's huge.
I got Trevored into it too. Trevor. In fact, I played it for like literally 4 hours straight in the very first day that I played it.
Well,
and then I hit that point where it was like, I've played too much in one sitting and I no longer am making progressions. And I was like, cool, I'm done now. But like, I still admit it is an incredibly great, well-made game. And I think about it often.
It's the first game that when they're like, hey, we got a season pass and a premium season pass, I did the premium, not because I wanted the ranks, just because I wanted to give them more money. I absolutely love the game that they made. I'm like, you deserve this. I don't think I even actually finished that season.
Doesn't matter. It's a couple bucks. Give it to them. So I guess everyone agreed on that, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Put it on there. All right, Chad. You've already got you just left out an E. Cool. Jesus. Alex.
Me again?
But yeah, because Trevor just went. I'm going in a circle backwards. Yeah, it's you. Unless you don't have anything, that's fine. You can skip.
Yeah, I don't. Unfortunately, I did play quite a few AAA games this year, but the only like major AAA games that I played with any.
Oh, you can put indies in here, by the way. If you think an indie deserves to be overall game of the year, you can throw it in here. There's no problem with that.
No, I don't have anything else to share in that regard. I was gonna. Okay. I do want to give just a quick little tip of the hat to the Deathloop Golden Loop update, which released just a few months earlier this year. I really had a lot of fun with that. The problem with that update is that it's not even on the same level as like the Bug Snacks Isle of Big Snacks update or the Cuphead update, for example. So if neither of those got on the indie game list, it's probably not worth bringing this one up. So I'll tip my hat to that and move on.
All right, I do need to play that. I do like Deathloop. Dusty, you got anything for us?
No, there's not a lot of games that like I've played that's like not indie, like, or we have not talked about. I'm just going to throw it out there because I really want to play it. So maybe like a contender. I want Sonic Frontiers because it looks fucking weird.
Yeah.
Nope. Okay, now no, I wanted more. Put it up there, please.
So
hey, you know what? I'll put it up there.
I also kind of want it. So
I've been playing quite a fair bit of Sonic Frontiers as well, and it's just one of those things where like I like Sonic Frontiers a lot. I think it is a much better game than I feel like a lot of people are anticipating it would be. But ultimately, compared to my time at Elden Ring, it was pretty clear to me, like, yeah, like this game's good, but it's not quite Game of the Year material. And that's okay. That's okay. This game didn't need to be Game of the Year material to be respected by me and clearly many, many other gamers across the globe.
Front ears, huh?
From what I'm hearing, how I feel about Pokemon is how Sonic fans feel about Frontiers. So,
Gotcha.
So it's a buggy mess?
I've heard it looks really buggy. So
Yeah.
We talked about this during the podcast. The thing is, Sonic Frontiers, it's not very buggy. It's just that there's a lot of pop-in. And that pop-in...
Yeah. Well, he's so fast. How is the processor supposed to keep up? I mean, come on.
How can you do that? He's the fastest thing alive. Yeah. The thing is the pop-in, it's not that big of a deal, but there are moments where, like, these rails that you're supposed to use to get around the various zones that you're in don't quite pop in as soon as you would want them to, and so it can be a little bit difficult to navigate around, again, the various zones. But other than that, like, the game is not that bad from a technical perspective, at least not as bad as what I've seen with Pokemon.
Oh,
Chad,
you haven't seen Sonic fall into the back rooms yet?
Yeah.
Not yet. We'll see.
Chad, please put that in the maybes, because do not.
Well, it's an asterisk. It's an asterisk. That means it's a maybe. It's just not organized on the right column with everything else. But
Gotcha. Chris, do you have an actual Game of the Year nomination? Again, indies can be in here, because I'm good at starting nominating indies.
Yeah, if you want a refresher on indies, I'll show you again our top 8 from the indies.
Yeah.
Now, are these off limits?
No, these can go in. That's what I'm saying. Anything can go in overall. I just want to do indie first because there is overlap. So I want to do indies first. Yeah. But do you have anything, Chris, in general? If you don't, that's fine.
No. Yeah, you know what I wish I was, in an alternate timeline where this game was actually like worthy is Callisto Protocol, but I've played enough of that to know, unfortunately, it's not. And I'm sad about I'm still enjoying it, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But no,
I am
in this
watching
timeline,
someone playing that and not having fun.
I still want to give it a shot. I've decided I'm going to move the Final Fantasy remake game that recently came out to next year. If I'm going to play one more new game before the end of the year, it's that one. I want to give it a shot.
Cool. Just know that we're in the darkest timeline, as we've established many times in the last couple of years. So just it's fine. It's not bad. But
okay.
So I have nothing else. That's a very long way of saying no. I have nothing else.
Okay. Chad, do you have anything else?
Yeah, so I was struggling as to whether or not I would bring this one up at all. But then, like, looking at some of the other things on this, was like, I mean, if we're gonna put Sonic Frontiers up there, then fuck yeah, we should put Pokemon Legends Arceus up on here. Like,
you're an Arceus boy.
I put 45 hours in 1 week, and that was a full-time job for me on top of my full-time job. Spoilers, I didn't put as many hours in my full-time job as I did Pokemon Legends that week. But
thank God this isn't recorded.
Yeah, that game it hit so hard for me, and it was the perfect refresh to that Pokemon formula that I wanted. It was the way I want to play Pokemon games going forward. It was fantastic. Yeah, and it had its issues with pop in and these barren open areas, but I think it deserves to be up here with some of these other games as well.
So I'm gonna second this, actually, and I actually forgot that this game came out this year. This year has been such a blur. I thought that was last year.
It was like
same.
It was January. So
yeah, it was no, but I mean, like, I thought it was January last year. But like the thing that I remember, because I even put a bunch of time into that one. I remember the thing that I said to my wife was, yeah, I'm a modern child teleported by a god back in time, but at least I'm doing something fucking different in this game. Like, that was my whole thing, is that, like, it was different. It wasn't the same Pokemon game. Again, there wasn't some old man that's like, you want some sneakers? I know that hasn't been in the series in a long time, but it's always what I think of. But it did something different, and having that style of play where it's like, yeah, I'm just walking around in third person and I throw a fucking ball and there's my Pokemon and now they're battling was fantastic. It's so wild. I'm almost upset that game existed because I feel like Scarlet and Violet would have had a better oh my gosh moment if they had saved it for that one. But that game as a whole was a different sort of Pokemon game, and yeah, I think it should be on the list.
Chad, what I want you to do. Oh no, go ahead. Alex,
I just want to say I had honestly completely forgotten that I beat this game. I did not dislike this game, but compared to the likes of Elden Ring and even I hate to say it, Sonic Frontiers, I did not find exploring that world to be all that interesting, and I was frustrated with how many parts of the game overly relied on sort of the catching mechanic as the basis of their gameplay. I really did not have a lot of fun with a lot of those boss battles. As admittedly different as they were from what we had before in the series, I think as a whole the game is good, but I would rather vote for Scarlet and Violet, games that I have not yet played, over Arceus being on this list.
So what I want you to do, Chad, is put Pokemon Arceus Legends, whatever. I don't know how you're going to spell it because you're going to have ridiculous spelling. Put it underneath Pokemon ScarJo. Because if we have to have a conversation between a Pokemon game going on here, I don't think they should both go on here. I mean, I guess we'll see. But put them next to each other, just in case. I will go ahead. And my list, what I have left on my Game of the Year was because half of my list was indies. Because I was like, I like these indies so much. So I guess we can just type them in and we'll start cutting stuff down. But for me, again, we haven't voted on the indie list. For me, I think Vampire Survivors deserves to be on this list.
Yes, it does.
I think Cult of the Lamb deserves to be on this list.
Yes, it does.
Shredder's Revenge.
Yes, it does.
And Immortality. And I know Immortality is maybe 50-50 for who's here. But Vampire Survivors, Cult of the Lamb, TMNT, or Immortality, I would nominate to be on this list. Because again, like, I think there's really good indies this year. And I would rather put a Vampire Survivors on over Pokemon Arceus, or over Sonic. I don't know why Sonic's still here. Deleted Sonic.
He's so upset.
Let me ask you, didn't you vote for Sonic 2 over Ocarina of Time? Like,
yeah,
way back
it is.
on our podcast?
It's better. Yeah.
Okay, so
Ocarina of Time
let's not pretend like Sonic 2 and Frontiers are on the same plane. Like, I know I haven't played one of them, but come on.
Sonic 2 is amazing. And again, Ocarina of Time is like the 5th best Zelda game. I don't even want to hear it.
You're talking Sonic 2 or Sonic Adventure 2?
Sonic 2.
No, sir. No, sir.
That's a big difference.
This fucking show. No,
They're talking about like Shadow the Hedgehog wasn't a good game.
Oh God! I will say I was gonna suggest Vampire Survivors and Cult of the Lamb for this list, so I full-heartedly put that. Team NT, I will back as well because it's a fantastic game.
All right, I want to put on Immortality, but I think I'm pretty much alone.
I mean, I would love Immortality up there as well. Okay. I just think like for these other games, like I adore Immortality. Like I still need to finish it because like I'm too caught up in like the stuff.
Tell you what, you could put Immortality on there if, and take off Sonic Frontier.
It's fine.
Absolutely.
It's fine.
So yeah, Vampire Survivor, Cult of the Lamb.
Good with those two.
I'm gonna say don't type in Immortality because I love it, but there's not enough people here to keep it on. And then Shredder's Revenge. And now let's cut it down. So as Chad's typing it in, Cult of the Lamb and TMNT. So Elden Ring for sure. God of War Ragnarok for sure. I think at this point, because 4 people said it, Destiny 2, Witch Queen for sure. Marvel Snap, I think, enough people said Marvel Snap for it to go on here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 more spots, and Chat's typing it into to chat here. What do you guys think? Again, I will say Marvel's Midnight Suns should be, if we're cutting stuff off of the what's left, I think Marvel's Midnight Suns should be on here.
Do we want to have both Marvel
let's
Snap
leave it. Let's go.
Midnight Suns on this?
I
know they're pretty
good
different.
Games. Let's table it. What do you think we should get rid of Sonic? I'm sorry. Who really thinks that should be on the list?
No.
I think
I want to play the game.
go.
I agree with you. Get Sonic off the list.
Kill Sonic, please.
I had a lot of fun with Sonic.
I love
that
Dusty even changed his fucking background to fucking Eggman. Like, he went all in on it.
I'm sure it's fun. I have no problem with fun. I like fun games that aren't Game of the Year. It's fine, but it doesn't need to be up here.
I feel like Vampire Survivors, even though I haven't even played it, I haven't played 1 minute of that game, should probably be on this list.
I think it should too.
I'll tell you right now, your life will be 1 minute better.
Yeah. Do we have enough people to think that Vampire Survivors should be on the list?
I think Vampire Survivors is a contender for sure.
Thumb up for me.
Sure. Of what we see on, yes, Vampire Survivors, yes. I think of the 11 that we see on here, I would like to nominate. Let's start getting rid of shit from the bottom. I would like to nominate Splatoon 3 is not as good as the other 10.
Problem is, unfortunately, I don't have a lot of people to prop me up on this one.
I don't, not that I can prop you up on it, but I'm thinking, is Splatoon better than those Pokemon games? But I don't know
enough.
I haven't
played Splatoon 3, but Pokemon Scarlet and Violet's really fucking good. I love Arceus. I think Pokemon Scarlet and Violet better. If you like Arceus, play Scarlet and Violet.
I think.
So I guess, Alex, I guess I'd ask you.
I suspect that Pokemon Scarlet. It's tough because I suspect that the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet games just present a more interesting and kind of deeper gameplay loop than anything that Splatoon 3 offers. In the same breath, though, Splatoon 3 definitely a way more polished game from a technical and kind of storytelling and cinematic perspective. Ultimately, though, I'm fine taking Splatoon 3 off the list on the basis that we do have another shooter, Destiny, that is there to kind of represent the genre on the list. If Destiny had not been there, I would have maybe made a bit of a stronger case for it on the basis that we should have a shooter on the list, but because Destiny is there. I don't
think I've ever thought of Destiny 2 and Splatoon in the same sentence before, but I will agree with this.
Yeah. All right, if Alex is okay with it, I guess drop Splatoon 3. So that's... Can you move these around, Chad, just so I can see how many are left? Because I can't see anything.
Take that
off
of Destiny.
Are we... Okay, so Destiny, we're taking the Asterisk off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Midnight Suns.
I feel like...
Move it over, because
it's a maybe.
We're still going to talk about that, yeah. I'm making you do a lot of work on the fly. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
And then Marvel Snap is a go, and Vampire Survivors is a go.
Survivors a go.
Mm-hmm.
You're seeing producing in real time.
It is really working. So I guess...
These are good, so they can stay there. Cult of the Lamb still is an asterisk?
Yeah.
I think Cult of the Lamb should stay.
I think
personally. I think it should stay.
I'm fine with it staying.
Okay. So Cult of the Lamb.
So now we have to pick two from the one on the right.
We have two. So on the ones on the right, the 4 games on the right, which are Marvel Midnight Suns, both Pokemon games that came out this year, and Ninja Turtles. We have to pick 2 out of these 4.
My vote is Pokemon Scarlet and Shredder.
To go or to stay?
No, to stay. Sorry. Yeah, to stay.
To stay.
So you say Pokemon and Ninja Turtles. Yeah. All right, what else? I guess we just vote and then talk about it.
I think I'm on board with that. I think I'm on board with ScarJo and Shredder.
Okay.
Fucking ScarJo. How dare you?
ScarJo is the best film ever made.
Yeah,
I disagree.
I think
ScarJo
I'm okay.
and Midnight Suns is my vote. Sorry.
Chris said ScarJo and Midnight Suns. Okay.
I'm okay
Alex,
with,
you were talking?
Yeah, ScarJo and Shredder. Considering that we brought up Cult of the Lamb a little bit late during our indie game discussion to begin with. You know, nothing against the game, but like, as somebody who's like not really played Cult of the Lamb or Shredder's Revenge all that much, I feel like that speaks to the kind of like overall quality of the products that we're talking about.
Mass Llama's gonna be real mad. They're in chat. They're very happy about the lamb.
Oh, Lamb's staying on there. I guess so. Dusty, what would you vote for?
Yeah, Pokemon Scarlet Violet.
ScarJo.
No, absolutely not. I refuse.
Don't you say? Yeah. You stick to your guns, Dusty. Yeah,
I refuse. They are not going to whitewash my game.
Ghost in the Shell, great movie, everybody. So Pokemon, what's the other one then? Out of the,
the thing is, like, the only one I play is Arceus, but I don't think it's a Game of the Year contender as much as I absolutely enjoy that game. Midnight Suns, it's too soon. I haven't played it yet, and only one person of us. It feels like Ninja Turtles is the one where there is much more consensus that should be a contender.
Yeah,
Trevor, what do you think?
I think a month from now, Midnight Suns, we're gonna look. Maybe several months from now, we're gonna look back and be like, "Oh fuck, that game slapped."
I'm telling you this now.
Right now, most of us have played TMNT Shredder's Revenge and say, "Yeah, that shit's great." And one of us has played Midnight Suns and says this shit's the best in the world.
I was getting the vote. Trevor, what's your what would you do two out of these?
My vote to stay is Scarlet and Violet and Shredder.
Okay, so here's what we do. Scarlet and Violet gets in because everyone said that they wanted to do it. So go ahead and put that over there. So now I just want to make the case because I really like Marvel's Midnight Suns. What do we think of Marvel's Midnight Sun versus Shredder's Revenge? I just don't
out of the
three
Shredder
left,
I haven't played Midnight Suns. I've played Shredder's Revenge, and I don't think Shredder's Revenge should stay. I don't like it. It doesn't have staying power. It was great for like 4 to 6 hours, but like Marvel's Midnight Sun to me seems like it has like the makings of a truly great game. Like I'm very interested to check it out. Like it's just like Shredder's Revenge is a nice little nostalgia, like, you know, dopamine hit, and I don't know.
You know what's messed up? These are both of my nominations across the thing. So that's, but I think we all agree that Arceus probably doesn't go over Shredder or Midnight Suns, right? If we're breaking them down.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Chris, that's his thoughts. Chad, what would you think?
Like I mentioned, several months from now, I think I will have chosen Midnight Suns over Shredder's Revenge. So I guess that speaks to Midnight Suns, maybe.
We'll table that for now. Dusty,
Okay.
do you have between Shredder and Midnight Suns?
Yeah, again, both games I haven't played. I am neither here nor there. If more want to do Midnight Sun, since it's probably like a more bigger game. More bigger game. Put
it on the box.
Bigger, more gamer.
Alex, what about you?
Oh, good.
Oh, no, go ahead. Trevor, you were saying something. You go ahead. Okay. Alex.
I'll talk.
I don't know. I'm really split on this one. I know I said earlier, like, should we have Midnight Suns and Snap if they're both Marvel games, but like they are pretty different from each other. I also think that like the music in TMNT is pretty great. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm pretty split. I don't know which one we should go with.
Okay. And then Trevor, what about you?
I'm gonna be honest. You have won me over, and it's because I love you, Adam. I'll go with Midnight Suns.
Cool. I mean, these are both my children, by the way. So you're telling me I love them more than the other.
Kill one of
for
them
you.
and bring Midnight Suns in.
This is the thing now
One of-
because I'm. Oh, go ahead, Chris.
One of your children is a very well-dressed poser. The other one seems to be doing something new and interesting. That's all I'm saying.
And that's what do I think is better? Yeah, I nominated them both because I fucking love Shredder's Revenge. Holy shit, I do. I'm gonna have to go Midnight Suns because if I do a personal top 5, it's there, and Shredder's Revenge might be on the end. Was that enough? There was between the split and the votes. I think that makes Midnight Suns go on the list. Correct?
Yeah.
Chad's
All right.
literally put it on there.
Cool. Very nice. All right, I guess that's it. So, Respawn Aim Fires overall Game of the Year bracket will consist of Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Destiny 2 Witch Queen, Marvel's Midnight Sun, this Child 12 a.m. Sun, Marvel's Midnight Sun,
Child
Marvel
superhero.
Snap, yep, Child superhero, Marvel Snap, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Vampire Survivors, and Cult of the Lamb. Not bad.
Will you read the
pretty
indie
good
ones
about
off
that
again?
list.
And
For
just
audio
yeah,
listeners.
for context, the indie ones, again, we'll have someone randomly put this into a bracket for us, but we have Tunic, Neon White, Cult of the Lamb, Vampire Survivors, Shredder's Revenge, Citizen Sleeper, Immortality, and Rogue Legacy 2. There you go. I think those are pretty good brackets. I can't complain about it. You know? I thank you guys, everyone, for coming on and helping us with it, even though we had to sacrifice some of our children and Sonic, but I'm not upset about killing Sonic. It's all good.
He'll be back.
He already died.
They're
once.
always back.
He'll figure out a way to come back.
You remember in Sonic Forces when he gets captured and tortured? Well, that's a thing that happened in Sonic. But anyways,
No, I haven't played Sonic Forces.
Yeah, it's how he became a werewolf, right?
that was Unleashed.
That was Unleashed, right? Did that have Froggy in it? I love Froggy.
I didn't play the game.
There's a Sonic character named Froggy?
It's a frog.
Yeah, he's Big the Cat's best friend.
Yeah.
Done.
God.
It's a very neat mini game where you have to go fishing. I know too much Sonic lore for playing only about 5 hours of Sonic.
Oh,
This
I
is
remember
awful.
these frogs from Sonic Adventure.
This is awful. Anyways, thank you guys all for coming on. I think we've got the list. So the idea is, of course, listen to the podcast, look on Twitter. We're going to have brackets of each of these games, and you, as the listeners, get a guess. And whoever gets closest can win a prize. Everyone here can do it except for the host because we're going to know ahead of time. And that podcast will be released at a later date. So everyone get on Twitter, fill out your brackets, try to win a prize. Thank you again, Chad, for coming on. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Dusty. Thank you, Alex. And thank you, Trevor. I appreciate it. And that's our POTY GOTYs for Respawn Aim Fire of 2022. Do I need to do anything else, Chad? Is there a thing that you need to talk about? I don't know.
You want to do we? I'll have everyone here give me something that they want us to plug and put it in the chat, in the notes. So if you're listening, we can put it in the description on YouTube and the notes on the podcast.
We'll do it. Yeah, everyone check out what everyone's doing and have a good time. And we'll see you for Game of the Year.